Was I wrong for completely ruining my so-called best friend's engagement party after finding out they were systematically bullying my girlfriend for over a year? Seriously, I need to know. Because right now I'm sitting here, and all I can think about is the look on their faces when everything fell apart. I'm talking about a full-on, meticulously planned disaster that I executed. They thought they were safe, that their cruelty would never catch up to them, but they were wrong. It all came down to a word, a ridiculous, meaningless little word they used to tear down the kindest person I know. Labubus. Tell me, if you were me, and the person you love was being emotionally tortured by the very people you trusted, would you have stopped short of total destruction? I doubt it. This whole nightmare started innocently enough, like all good tragedies do. I've known Liam and Chloe since elementary school. We were the original trio, me Liam the class clown and Chloe the perpetually organized, mom friend. We were inseparable through high school, college, and into our adult lives. Liam and I even went into business together, a small, successful tech startup. Chloe was working as a paralegal, always the responsible one. And then about 2 years ago, I met Hannah Leah. Hannah was sunshine and quiet strength wrapped up in one person. She was studying to be an elementary school teacher, and she had this infectious, gentle energy that made me feel calm just being around her. We hit it off immediately, and within a few months, we were serious. I was happier than I'd ever been. Naturally, I introduced her to Liam and Chloe. I genuinely thought they would love her. Initially, it seemed fine. We'd go out for dinner, have game nights, and for a while it felt like my two worlds were merging perfectly. But then the subtle shift started. It was tiny things at first. A raised eyebrow from Chloe when Hannah would tell a story, a quick, whispered comment between Liam and Chloe when Hannah left the room, followed by immediate silence and forced smiles when she returned. I chalked it up to them just being a bit cliquey, the way old friends sometimes are with a newcomer. Hannah, bless her soul, noticed it too, but she's the type of person who always seeks the good in others. She'd brush it off saying, "Oh, they're just protective of you, sweetie. It's fine." But it wasn't fine. The turning point, the moment I should have seen the poisonous rot underneath their friendly facades, was about a year ago at a 4th of July barbecue. Hannah had volunteered to bring her famous homemade lemonade. She was in the kitchen pouring it when Liam sauntered over to me, a smirk plastered on his face. "Man, Labubus is really putting on a show for you tonight, huh?" he chuckled, nudging me. I remember freezing. "Labubus? What are you talking about?" I asked, confused. He waved a dismissive hand. "You know, Hannah, we just call her Labubus sometimes. It's nothing, just a funny nickname." I felt a knot form in my stomach. It wasn't a friendly nickname. It felt derisive, mean-spirited. When I pressed him on what it meant, he just shrugged, said it was an inside joke, and changed the subject. I let it go, mostly because I didn't want to cause a scene, but the word stuck with me. I didn't mention it to Hannah, afraid it would hurt her feelings. I wish I had. Over the next few months, things only got worse, though still subtly. If Hannah was late, they'd exchange looks. If she was quiet, they'd ask me loudly, "Is Labubus feeling okay?" It reached a point where Hannah started actively avoiding our group outings. She'd always have a headache, or say she had too much grading to do. I confronted her about it one evening. She broke down, tears streaming down her face. She confessed that she felt like they hated her, that every interaction felt like a test she was failing. I told her I would talk to them, that they were being ridiculous. I actually defended their behavior to her, minimizing her pain. That is something I will regret for the rest of my life. I actually believed my best friends couldn't be intentionally cruel. Oh, how naive I was. The truth finally exploded into my life 3 weeks ago. Liam and Chloe had just announced their engagement, a huge, fancy affair planned for the end of the month. I was supposed to be the best man. I was at Chloe's apartment, helping her set up her new smart speaker system, while she was out getting flowers. I was tinkering with the settings when my phone buzzed with a low battery warning. I set it down and picked up Chloe's iPad, which was sitting on the counter, to quickly find a charging cable tutorial. As the screen woke up, I saw a string of recent notifications from a group chat on iMessage. The chat was named LNC Labubus Watch. Curiosity, that terrible, irresistible thing, got the better of me. I rationalized it as, "I'm setting up her tech, I should check the messages are syncing. But deep down, I knew I was looking for answers about that word. What I read next didn't just give me answers. It shattered my entire perception of reality. The chat was between Liam, Chloe, and two other mutual friends, Sarah and Mark. It was hundreds of messages long, dating back to almost the day I introduced them to Hannah. The content was pure, distilled venom, all directed at Hannah. They had taken that stupid nickname, Labubus, and used it as a shorthand for everything they mocked about her. They constantly discussed her appearance, her weight, the way she dressed, her dreams of being a teacher, everything. They even shared photos of her taken without her knowledge, zooming in on perceived flaws and adding cruel captions. I scrolled back further. They were tracking her. If she bought a new pair of shoes, it was a discussion. If she got a new haircut, it was a debate on how unflattering it was. Chloe had messaged, "Labubus is wearing that atrocious yellow dress again. Honestly, someone needs to tell her she can't pull off bright colors." Liam's reply, "I tried to subtly suggest she go for something more modest." The sheer audacity of Labubus thinking she's hot stuff. They were even actively trying to sabotage her. A message from Liam detailed how he had casually dropped to my mother that Hannah's family was unreliable, to try and sour the relationship. My hands were shaking so hard I almost dropped the iPad. This wasn't harmless banter. This was calculated, sustained psychological abuse. It was a secret society dedicated to tearing down the woman I loved, right under my nose, and using my friendship as their shield. They weren't just bullying Hannah, they were actively undermining my happiness. I took screenshots of everything, hundreds of them. I didn't just want to tell the story, I wanted to prove it. When Chloe walked back in, holding a ridiculously expensive bouquet, I put the iPad down, heart pounding, and pretended everything was normal. I drove home in a daze. I didn't tell Hannah immediately. I couldn't. I needed a plan. The engagement party was in 2 days. A black tie event at a rented-out gallery. Hundreds of guests catered, a huge production. Liam and Chloe had spent a fortune and invited everyone we knew, including my parents, Hannah's parents, and all of our business contacts. This was their moment of triumph, and I decided, in that moment of cold fury, that I was going to make it their moment of complete, public humiliation. I realized I was done with subtlety, done with quietly pulling away. They deserved to feel the same level of shocking exposure and pain they had inflicted on Hannah for a year. I needed to make sure that not a single person at that party could look at them again without seeing the monsters they were. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. I was holding irrefutable proof that my 2 oldest friends were sociopathic bullies, and they were about to celebrate a huge milestone that would cement their social standing. I had the power to stop it, to expose them, but doing so meant ending decades of friendship and causing a colossal, unforgettable scene in front of everyone we knew. The collateral damage would be immense. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have just walked away and let them have their perfect night? Or would you have detonated the truth? I spent the next 2 days obsessively preparing. The theme of the party was a modern love story, and there was a whole setup. A slideshow of their photos set to slow music, speeches planned, a professional photographer. As the best man, I had access. I told Liam I needed to review the slideshow one last time to make sure my speech matched the tone. He, too busy with last-minute details, just gave me the link to the cloud folder. That was all I needed. I meticulously edited the slideshow. Every photo of Liam and Chloe, their first date, their trip to Paris, the proposal, was now interleaved with the screenshots I had taken. The cruel messages, the mocked pictures of Hannah, the entire conversation stream from LNC Labubus watch. I even used a photo editor to create a final, stark slide that simply read, "A modern love story built on Labubus." I synced the new, Poison slideshow with the original music track. I also made sure I had a backup on a USB stick, hidden in my jacket pocket. On the day of the party, I was a wreck of nerves and determination, but I was also calm. I put on my tuxedo, adjusted my tie, and looked in the mirror. I was no longer the naive friend. I was the executioner. Hannah still didn't know the full extent of the horror, or what I was planning. I simply told her to dress beautifully and to stay close to me. The party was everything Chloe had dreamed of. The gallery was stunning, champagne flowed freely, and the room was packed with important people. My parents were there looking proud. Hannah was beautiful, but I could still see the flicker of anxiety in her eyes as Liam and Chloe played the role of the perfect, gracious couple. The time for the speeches arrived. I was up first. I walked up to the podium, feeling the weight of the moment. I had my speech prepared, a brief, witty toast that I intended to completely disregard. I tapped the microphone. Good evening, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the best man, and I've been friends with Liam and Chloe since we were little kids. I paused, letting my eyes sweep the crowd. I met Liam's gaze. He was smiling. That smile, so confident and so utterly false, fueled me. Before I raise a toast to this incredible couple, I want to share a piece of their modern love story that you won't see in the lovely photos they have on display. Chloe looked confused. Liam's smile faltered. I walked over to the tech booth where the projector was running and smoothly, without drawing attention, I switched the presentation to my corrupted version, ready to auto-start. I walked back to the podium and raised my glass. I want to propose a toast to Liam and Chloe, two people who have taught me that friendship can be a mask, and that love can be used as a weapon. Before anyone could react, the lights dimmed slightly, and the slideshow began. The first few photos were the originals, the sweet, charming pictures of the engaged couple. The music swelled, gentle and romantic. Then the slide changed. The music kept playing, creating a sickeningly sweet juxtaposition to the first screenshot that flashed onto the wall. A message from Chloe, captioned over a secretly taken photo of Hannah laughing, reading, "Labubus is so loud. Can't she just be quiet for 5 minutes?" Gasps erupted from the crowd. Liam and Chloe's faces, initially confused, dissolved into horrified realization. The slides began to change every few seconds, faster now. A dizzying montage of their cruelty. Look at the size of Labubus's plate. I bet she's starving again. Tell me, she's not wearing that awful outfit to the company dinner. Labubus has zero taste. The entire LNC Labubus watch group chat was projected in massive, inescapable detail. I could hear Hannah's sharp, breathy intake of air beside me. My parents looked utterly mortified and confused. Liam sprinted towards the projection booth, but I had locked the laptop and had the USB stick secure. He couldn't stop the flow of bile. The final slide came up, the stark text. A modern love story built on Labubus. The music faded. Silence. An awful, heavy silence filled the gallery, broken only by the whispers of the guests reading the final slide, and the sound of Chloe's sharp, hysterical sobbing. I looked directly at Liam, whose face was a mask of furious, exposed shame. I put down my glass and spoke into the microphone one last time. This is the truth. For over a year, they used their friendship with me to gain access to my life and relentlessly, cruelly bully the woman I love. They called her Labubus. I hope everyone here realizes that the people you think you are celebrating are nothing more than cowards who prey on the kindest person they know. I paused, looking down at Hannah, who was clutching my arm, tears silently falling down her cheeks. Hannah, I am so sorry it took me this long to see it. They are not worth your tears. Then I turned to the room. Enjoy the rest of the party. I didn't wait for an answer. I gently took Hannah's hand, and we walked out of the gallery, past the stunned, whispering crowd. The aftermath was exactly as catastrophic as I intended. Liam tried to follow us, shouting, but I just kept walking. The fallout was immediate. By the next morning, the screenshots were everywhere. The party was a complete disaster, ending barely an hour after the exposure. People were disgusted. My parents, after I explained everything, were furious at Liam and Chloe and incredibly supportive of Hannah. Liam and I were business partners, and within a week, I bought him out, dissolving our partnership completely. I couldn't trust him to manage a vending machine, let alone a multi-million-dollar company. Chloe was fired from her paralegal job. Her boss, who was at the party, told her he couldn't have someone like her representing his firm. Their engagement is, predictably, completely off. I hear they tried to save face, claiming it was all a joke, a misunderstanding, but the evidence was too overwhelming, too specific. Nobody believed them. They are social pariahs now, forced to move out of the city and start completely over, stripped of their social circle and careers. And me? I lost two of my oldest friends, but I realized they were never my friends in the first place. I lost a business partner, but gained my integrity. The only thing that truly matters is Hannah. She is healing. She finally knows the truth, and she knows I will fight for her. She cried on my shoulder for hours, but they weren't just tears of sadness. They were tears of relief and vindication. She told me she had always felt like she was going crazy. And seeing the proof, seeing the entire, sickening story laid bare, finally freed her. She's stronger now, and our relationship is stronger because it's built on absolute, unshakable trust. I sometimes wonder if I went too far, if I should have just had a quiet word, but then I remember the phrase LNC Labubus watch, and the pain in Hannah's eyes, and I know I did the right thing. The moral of this story, if there is one, is simple. Don't let cruelty hide behind the veil of friendship. When someone shows you who they are, believe them. And when they hurt the person you love, you owe them nothing but the truth. That truth can be a wrecking ball. But sometimes a wrecking ball is exactly what you need to clear the garbage out of your life and build something real and honest in its place. Like this video if you were on my side and think I was justified in my absolute, public revenge. Subscribe for more stories like this, where the bad guys don't get away with it. And most importantly, share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. Tell me, was it worth it? I'll see you all in the next story.